All right, welcome back, Dr. D. It is Monday, November 9th, and we are continuing the lesson on Microsoft Access Simple Database. And so just kind of a quick recap. So on Friday of last week, we had you create 4 different tables. And so I'm going to click, oops, I'm going to click over here. So we've got our 4 tables: days of the week, hours of the day, my classes, and professor. And that should be professor, but that's all right. And so just click on those. And so there's our days of the week, hours of the day, my classes, which is the real database table that we're going to be using the most. These others are just reference tables. So that we can pull useful information into my classes. And the last one is our professor's table. And so I've populated this with a little bit more. And what I'm going to have the folks do in class is, first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a form. And I'll go through this here in just a second. And we're going to put, I don't know, probably 10 names in there. And just so that there's some data in there. All right. So what are we doing today? Today we are going to create forms. We're going to create 2 different forms. We're going to create a form for the professor's table, and then we're going to create a form for my classes. And I'm actually going to put some data in here just to kind of populate that so we've got something to work with. So anyhow, what is a form? Well, a form is just a simpler method of creating data input, right? And it's also, with a form, I can look at a singular record without it being in. So let's take this for example. I'm here on the professor table, and when I create a form for this, right, I'll be able to scroll through and I'll be able to see this information in a little bit in a better format, right, rather than the Excel spreadsheet type formula. And we can actually set it up so that it has the actual the table below the form. And I think that's probably what we'll do with, at least with this one. I'm not sure if I'll do it with my classes or not. Probably won't. So anyhow, the forms allow for us to have easy data input, all right, as well as being able to look at a record in detail. And again, you know, these tables are pretty small and there's not a lot of data. So, I mean, I literally could have a whole bunch of data that pushed all the way over here, right? And that makes going in and viewing that data a little more cumbersome because I've got to scroll over to see it, right? And so, I mean, I literally could, let's do this. So, let's say that Taylor ID is really long. All right. And, you know, we just keep going. So, if I were to, whoops, that's not what I want to do. Stop. So, let's say that we've got one person in there whose last name is really long, right? All right. So whenever to get in this, you know, I've got to scroll all the way over to get to that email, right? Well, if I have a form, all right, then no, I don't want to say changes. Then I have a lot better layout of that, and I can actually manipulate the layout of the form to match what I want. All right, and so we'll do that for my classes because the way we've got this set up is a little awkward, right? Intro course name. You know, typically I wouldn't want to start with course number. It's Sys 101, Intro to Systems, and so forth and so on. But anyhow, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and so. In order to actually create a form, what we have to do is we're going to select the table that we want to. We're going to go up here and select Create. I don't know if you can see that. Anyhow, 3rd tab over. It doesn't look like you can see that. I hope you can. And then I'm going to come down and we're going to create form. All right, so because there's a relationship in this table, all right, so where's the relationship at? So in my classes, there's actually a drop down for professor, right? And so because there's a relationship here that's giving me this, and so this is something that we really don't need, and so we're going to get rid of that. So I'm just going to highlight that and delete it, and that's gone. All right, so now really important, I have to go over and click on view. All right, now in order to navigate through this, I can go down here, and hopefully, yep, you can see that. All right, and scroll through, and so now if I wanted to go ahead and fill that, right, I can go right down here, and you see the little new blank record. All right, and so I'll do that. All right, so we see that this is going to self-populate, and let's see, we're going to do Bob's cousin Ron Davis. Actually, I used to teach with him. I don't know, blah blah blah, whatever, blah 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 blah, some email at something.com. All right, and so there it is. And so now I'm going to go and say, let's say I want to create another record. I can just click on that and it'll go again. Now, one of the things about Microsoft Access that really drives me crazy is that you would think, oh, well, that's great. We just put another record in there. And so I can scroll back and see that it's there, sure enough. But let me go to the last one here. If I open up the table again, oh, well, it did it this time. Figures. What I've had to do previously was actually to close out that table because it was not taking it. All right, so let's close that. All right, some email at something.com. No, because it's a hyperlink, it wanted to jump up. All right, so I can do that. So relatively straightforward. Now what I want you to do is to go ahead and fill out this for, I don't know, just do your class list for the day, or for the semester. And so fill all your instructors in there. If you don't know office number and all that good stuff, just put something. It doesn't really matter, right? But again, what we're trying to do is populate this table with some stuff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let's see, we'll do Lee Yarger, something, blah blah blah, and 9985, la la la, yeah, sure, and then Lee at bsu.edu. Right. Okay, all right, and then we'll go to the last and click. All right. And so now we see we've got 8 records. If I click on this, we've got it. It's there. Okay, so now that we're done with that, we're going to close it. So I'm going to right click on that and close, and it's going to ask me if I want to save it. Yes. And so we're going to say professor_form and OK. So now we see over here, these are all the entities that we've created, and now we have a form. All right, so we can click on this, and you can actually do custom forms. You can make this as unique as you want to. You can do the layout, styling on it, and just, I mean, you really can go to town on this. That's beyond the scope of what I'm trying to do. All right, the scope of what I'm trying to do is just get you into the program and using it. All right, so created the form for that. We deleted the subtable. Click the view to fill it, and all right. So now let's go up here to my classes. So I'm going to click the table, create, form. All right. Now, did we notice something different here? we've got these drop down boxes. What do you think that is? Okay, so this is where we are pulling data from another form. All right, and so when we, if I click it now, it's not going to do anything, right? Because we're still in the process of making this form. All right, and so I think what I want to do is I want to change how I do this. All right, and so I'm going to shift that around because this is the way I think. Sys 101, enter to systems. All right, course ID is there, and maybe I decided that I don't really need department. All right, I can delete those out. All right, and so because really it's redundant information, right? We got Sys 101 that already tells us, so I'm just going to go do that, right? All right, so now we got that. We've made some minor changes to this, and this ID I think is auto numbering, so I think we can actually delete that as well. And so let's close it. Yes, and I want to make it my classes underscore form, and okay. All right, and so now we've got this my classes, whoops, wrong one, my classes underscore form, and so I've got this Sys 101. Now let's think big perspective, right? We could, if we had a table that had all of the classes that were located, right? And so how would that table be constructed? Well, it would have a course ID as the key, right? Because that course ID, even though we might have 10 classes that are the same class but they have different sections, that course ID delineates those different sections, right? That's the unique key value for that table, right? So if we had all of those already in a table, and we call that spring courses or spring 2021 courses, right? That would be all of the classes, and it could already have all this stuff, and we could pull directly from that into my classes. All right, so this really is the utility of it, is that I can pull from different tables all the information that I need. All right, and so again, really beyond the scope of what we're trying to do here, all I'm really trying to do is getting you into Access, creating some stuff and playing around and getting familiar with it. All right, so okay, so we need to go to View. All right, and then I'm going to create, actually, I didn't really have anything in here, so let's put some stuff in here. Oops. All right, course number, ENP 104. Why is it being stupid? Because I'm in the wrong view. My bad. All right, so yeah, my bad. All right, so actually I should be able to go back and adjust this one. Sys 101, Introduction to Systems, course ID 12345, instructor, voucher. Actually, I should be able just to go bloop, and ta-da! All right, days of the week. I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. Start time, 1,300 hours. End time, we'll say 1,400 hours. All right. And then let's go to the next record. All right. ENP 104. Intro to Systems. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I don't know. I'm teaching that one too. Voucher, day of the week. And this is going to be an intensive Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. And then we start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we really finish at 3. All right. And go on to the next. All right. All right. So again, just an easy way to fill. All right. So now let's click on my classes. All right, there. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. All right. So if I close out my classes, close. Now, if I bring it back up, all of a sudden this stuff is in there. All right. This is what I was talking about earlier. It has a problem updating, and I'm not really sure why. But when we do that, if it doesn't update your table, then you just need to close the table out. And all right, so that makes it a little bit longer, right? Because we got this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got that all week long class in there. And, you know, we got this over here. All right, and so all right, so now if we were to go to print this, what do you think the likelihood of this all fitting on the paper? Pretty slim, right? All right, now you notice that I took out the department and I took out that ID from my professor's form, right? I took out this auto numbering thing because it just does its own thing. I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to. I don't want to manually override it, and I can't actually. All right. And then I took out department because it was kind of redundant information. So let's go back to this. All right. So that course ID is not on there, right? We deleted it off there. We changed up how the order was displayed here. Did that make a change to here? All right. It did not. Okay. So even though the table might be set up in one way, with the form we can change how it is, how it's displayed, how we input it. Because as humans we think in certain ways, right? Which may not be the best ways to actually do something with a computer or with a database or with anything really. Because humans are quirky, right? And there are certain ways that we like to do things, and all of us have our own little things that we like to do, right? So by using the form, you can customize that form to fit the way that you think. Even though you may not have created the database, you can create the form to allow you to put the data in a way that makes sense to you. And so the person who created the actual database itself, or even that table, you know, they created it in a particular way for whatever reasons, and I'm sure that they had their reasons, right? But we might not think along the same lines, and so it allows us to create a user-definable format for how we're inputting data. And so, you know, we made those quick changes that made it very simple for us. All right. Okay, so what are we going to do now? So let's see. We want to go ahead, and I want you to input all of your classes using myclasses.form, myclasses_form, and input the rest of your classes, all your classes for this semester. All right. Okay, so once you get done with that, you can go ahead and pause the video until you get done with that. So now we're going to create, and I want my classes form, and I want to do a report. All right, and so here we see, we got stuff everywhere. I had to scroll off the screen to get it, and the whole 9 yards. So that's really not all that useful, right? So this is going to be something that we are printing, and so if I'm printing this out to carry with me so that I know where I'm going to my classes, right? What's some information that I don't really need? All right. I might want to go ahead and leave. I probably don't need this, so I'm just going to highlight those and delete them. All right, because I don't need that. All right, what I do need is, you know, and I may not need the intro to systems, intro to systems twice. That's awesome. All right, now I can't make a data entry error. So I have a data entry error here, right? Intro to systems, and it should be intro to engineering. All right, I can't make a correction here. All right, I'll have to go into, I can either access the table directly, or I can go back into myclasses.form to fix that. All right. So other stuff that I probably don't need. All right. And if you can see, if you can imagine printing this, this is not going to print on one sheet right now. Even if we print it landscaped, it wouldn't come off. It wouldn't come out right. So I'm going to select those because I really don't care what the course ID is, right? All right. So I deleted those, and now I need to delete that. Again, we already said that we don't really care about the department. That's irrelevant. Useless information. All right. Delete that. All right. All right. Now start time and end time. All right. Now, maybe I want to scrunch this down a little bit. Oh yeah, that's much better. So I click in here, and I'm going to use my arrow, and then so there we go. All right. All right. And so now what we would have is a user-defined report that generates just the information that we wanted. All right. And so it's going to take out our course name, the course number. All right. I could shift those around too if I wanted to. It's going to tell me my instructor, days of the week. All right. The start time and the end time, and all that good stuff. Right. So here we go. Real basic forms and reports. All right. So now that I've got this, I'm going to close it. It's going to ask me to save it. Yes. Report my classes _ schedule. And OK. All right. So now we see over on the left-hand side, we've got the 4 tables that we created. All right. We have 2 forms that we created. All right. Why don't we have a form for days of the week or hours of the day? Because there's no changes to those, right? Those are static things. You know, the days of the week are Sunday through Monday, and so there's no changes, right? Or Saturday through or Sunday through Saturday or whatever, however you want to look at it, right? It's static. It doesn't change. Hours of the day, right? And so we've only got 8 o'clock until midnight. You know, if I were really doing this, I would probably just go ahead and do a full 24 hours, right? But with it being what it is. All right. So the my classes, this is something that is going to change, right? Because each semester we're going to be taking classes. All right. And then professors form. All right. This is where we add professors in. All right. And so this will change from time to time. Professors leave, new professors are hired, and so forth. And then the report, you know, and again, this is something that we are generating, again, and it's user specified, the information that we're really wanting. So we deleted quite a bit of information off of that, and we can even change the order of it. And we could actually sort, let's see here. Let's see, I think, yeah, I'm in the right view. Maybe I want the other view. Yeah, there we go. Now, here is something to think about. So we could sort this, and actually sort would work. Let's see. I'd have to think about this. Let's do sort A to Z. Ah, that did it. All right, so that A to Z and then from 0 to 100. All right, and so by making that little change right there, right, what did I do? I put my schedule in order of start time. And so I could have done it by end time, but that doesn't really make sense, right? Because I want to know what time I need to be there. All right, and so by sorting A to Z, all right, we're sorting that in ascending order. And so it just looked at the 0800 is less than 1300, and so it threw it on there. All right. Okay, that pretty much wraps up all that I really wanted to do for today. We're about 25 minutes into the video. Class will probably take me an additional 10 or 15 minutes just as I walk around and help people do their things. And of course, by the time that you're doing your data input and all that good stuff, we'll have expended our 50 minutes. Doc D out. I hope that this is helpful, and have a great day.